Hello, my name is Kevin and this is the Love Decanters channel. So today I'm going to talk about Pontil marks and just so that you know what I'm talking about, here's a nice little probably 1930s, 1920s cream jug, and it's this mark here. So they don't always look exactly like this, but I will be talking about the different kinds or the lack of and what that means. Yeah, and I've shown you that, and if that's all you're interested in, what is a Pontil mark, it's time to cut off because I'm going to go deep into nerddom. I'm sitting here on my dining room table, and I have an array of glass in front of me that I'm going to show you with all sorts of different Pontil marks and ways of hiding them and different techniques and all sorts of stuff, so you'll get an idea of what's going on when you turn over something and have a look, and what is it that you're seeing when you look at the middle of the bottom of whatever it is you're looking at. What is that mark? What does it mean? What techniques have been used, etc., etc. So with that said, I'm going to show you a quick little reference just to show you how these things are made. So I will get on and show you that. So the reference I'm looking at here is called 5,000 Years of Glass by Hugh Tait. It's not a good glass reference book. It's a glass history book. So yeah, there's lots of really old stuff because it's going through 5,000 years of glass. But what's nice about this book is that in the back, there's quite a few pages showing you different glass making techniques. So what you've got here, someone making a Venetian bowl. This is what's going to be the bowl. This bit here is going to be the rim of the bowl. So you can see, and then they make a foot for the bowl. So it's going to have a wide foot. You can see that shaping it out. Then they make it out to the shape that it's going to be. But you can see so what they've done is they've made the bowl here. Yeah, there's the foot. And now they've attached a rod to the back and it will have a lump of molten glass on it. They've attached it to the back of the foot. So there's the foot. This is the top of the bowl here. And so now they've basically turned it around. So instead of having the bit that they were blowing through attached, they've cut that, they've attached something at the back and they've cut it off. And you can see they then can shape the bowl out while being attached to a rod by the foot. And they go on and they go on. And at the end, you end up with something like this. Then they actually, you can see what they're doing here. They're reheating it back in the furnace. So it's still attached by this rod at the back, still attached. And then no, they don't show it. But anyway, at the end, when it's finished, they'll break this off and it will leave a broken piece underneath the bottom of the foot of the bowl. And I'll show you some broken Pontil marks first. So we're going to start with broken Pontil marks first. So that's where they've snapped it off, but they've not done anything with what's left. Okay, so yeah, so there's three kinds. There's the rod, which is what we were looking at then. Then there's the pipe, and I'll show you some examples of that. And then there's the sand Pontil mark as well. So they're kind of all basically the same, but they look slightly different, and I'm going to show you what those differences look like. So here we go. So I have here an early 18th century glass, and you can see there's this bit here which looks like something has been snapped off, and that is a broken Pontil mark. It's a quite clean one. This also has a folded foot. This is kind of, I'm doing this just against the couple piece of paper on the table. Yeah, this is sort of like circa 1830, 1730, 1740. But yeah, that's what you see, broken Pontil mark. And this is a folded foot, which is also another early feature. So I'm showing you a late 18th century decanter here. You can see that the bottom of the bottle is pressed in. You can see there's a fairly, actually what I'd say dirty Pontil mark there, because one, it's got a bubble that's pressed out from it. It's got a bit of dirt in it, so there's probably been, when they've put the blob of glass on the end of the rod and shoved it up against the bottom of the bottle. Yeah, it's got a bit of dirt in it that's now forever pressed into the glass never to be removed. It's got a bit that sticks out there. I could actually press hard on that and cut my finger. And that's why what you see on you see it on modern wine bottles actually, where the bottom is pressed in, it's emulating this style where they pushed in the bottom of the bottle to stop the broken Pontil from scratching the table. Only some of them are quite deep. It became a stylistic thing as well, and that's why your wine bottles have a kick in the bottom to stop the broken Pontil from touching the table and scratching the table. So can you see that? Hold it sideways. So here you go with that one. So next I'm going to show you a pipe Pontil mark. I don't know why they used a pipe instead of just a rod, but you can see it has this funny little bit in the middle. It's still broken, like a broken one, but it's got a funny little bit in the middle. This is just a cheap 1830s cruet bottle, just cheaply molded. But yeah, it was still blown into mold. Someone pulled it out of the mold, still stuck a pipe Pontil on the back of it, or pipe rod on the back of it with small glass on it, and it creates this little funny little widget in the middle of it. Yeah, because they had to finish off the top, so yeah, the top's finished off, so they would shove that, take it out of the mold, blow it, take it out of the mold, stick a pipe on the bottom to hold it, and then just finish the top. So that's a nice little, very cheap Gothic piece of glass. Here's another little bottle with you can see it's got a deep kick in it. I think this is late 18th century. It's not in great condition, but you can see, look, you can see what the pipe Pontil looks like again. So now that you've seen two, you can see it's got that little deep bit in the middle. Yeah, and why they did that, I don't know. It looks like a weak point where you could just push through, but yeah. And you can see this also has a kick in the base. So I have here a late 19th century cream jug, and yeah, this is used as sand Pontil, where basically what they do is they get a rod, they put some blob of metal glass on it, and then they put some sand on the glass, on the hot molten glass that they then press onto the back of onto the bottom here, and it creates this impression. So you can see where the actual molten glass is attached around there. It's quite a bit wider, and I don't know if you can see, there's like a texture in the middle where the hot sand is pressed into the surface of the hot glass. The idea of this is that actually it's supposed to be easier to break off. This one's not particularly successful because the bottom, if you look at it, if I just hold it at the right angle, the bottom of the jug is very flat. So they've not pressed in at all, but it's got little bits of what would have been molten glass still attached. So it didn't come away, and that actually, if I scratch that on the table, it will scratch the table. So that's a bit crap really, but yeah, that's a sand Pontil. Sometimes they work completely and you're just left with a patch, like a rough patch. Can you see that it's like a rough patch in the middle? Yeah, so that's a sand Pontil. So this is a Georgian double wall salt from about 1720, something like that. And yeah, if I hold it, this is what I would describe as a successful sand Pontil. It's quite wide, and it's got kind of like a rough look to the surface just here, where they've pressed molten glass covered in sand against the surface here to hold it. And yeah, and you can see it's made some marks on it and everything, but if you just, yeah, it's difficult to show. You can feel the texture just out here. It's all nice and smooth, and in here it's, I don't know if you can hear this. Yeah, it's kind of roughish with a little bit of edging on it, but not much. This one doesn't touch the table because it is slightly indented, so you won't, none of the little slightly rough bits around the edge would touch the table. So next I'm going to show you a kind of broken Pontil. So this is a late 18th century French decanter, and you can see it had a broken Pontil. Well, they all start with a broken Pontil if it's hand blown like this, and then they've kind of roughed it out. It's like someone's just rubbed it with a bit of sandpaper. It's decently smoothed out, so there's no bit sticking out. But yeah, it's a rough and ready job, literally. Just get rid of the rough bit, the sticky sharp bits out, and leave it at that. So I've got a couple of very similar looking pieces of glass here. This is a Victorian cranberry posy vase, and this is a Whitefriars early 20th century posy vase. And in this way, there's a myth that all Whitefriars have a polished pontil. It's not really true, and lots of others, so it's not really a thing for showing. But if I turn that one over, it's got a beautiful polished out pontil. So this is me showing you, and in it you can see there's a little bit of the broken pontil left, but it's mainly polished out. And then on this one, you can see what you're seeing around the edge here. That's just wear and tear from where it sits on the table. But there is the broken pontil in the center, and it's not super sharp, but it's kind of scratchy. So that's two very similar pieces, and this is why you need to turn things over and have a look at the wear, but also what's going on technology wise. This is older, more blown glass. Before more machine auto blown glass would have polished pontils, and it's a sign of quality because it's still blown, and then they've taken the trouble to polish that out. So so this would count as better quality because more effort has gone into this. You've actually sent it off. So this has just been straight from the hot room in the glass factory, and that's it. So this has gone off for that to be first roughed out and then to be polished out. So yeah, more effort has gone into this than this. So I'm going to do a bit of myth busting here. So I see a lot of people asking, oh, it's got this polished pontil like this. Can you see it? Yeah. Is it Whitefriars? Okay. And some people think everything. Some people think everything that's got a polished pontil is Whitefriars, whereas really it's just a manufacturing technique. This is a Whitefriars bowl from 1934. It's called 9002. It's got like swags on it. Yeah. So if I put that down, drag in. So here's another bowl with the plied foot, which is a separate piece, and it too has a pontil mark, and it too is from the 1930s. This is a Kralik bowl from Strombergshytten from Sweden, so it's even from a different company. It's just a manufacturing technique. Polished pontils is a manufacturing technique. Masses of companies did it. So just kill that myth. And in fact, I'm going to do some more myth killing here. So here we go. So this is a Jeffrey Baxter piece, Whitefriars piece. All the vases had polished pontil marks, as far as I know. Someone might bust that myth on me, but the tumblers didn't. In fact, they're not even finished in any way, shape or form. They're just press molded out. There you go. So it's blown mold, but no pontil mark, broken or otherwise, is involved in this. Here's another Whitefriars glass from the 1930s design. It's the 2481, and this is Whitefriars again. Sorry, no polished pontil mark. So and this is a good glass. So, and in fact, actually, let me bring in this other one. I brought this one in as well. So this is super fine, late 19th century Whitefriars glass. It's quality, unbelievable quality. Listen to this. It's as thin as eggshells, but again, no polished pontil mark. It's a machine-made foot. So and they would have used something called a gadget to grip it. And talking of gadgets, I'm looking at here Dictionary of British Glass by Douglas Ash, and he talks about gadgets in here, and he's saying from the early 19th century. So these things have been used for 200 years. So there's glasses that are 200 years old that don't have a pontil mark. Okay, I've seen a date. Someone made a date of 1805. I can't really find that, but here I've got at least early 19th century. So you're really talking 200 years, because it actually could be in 1822. You never know. I'm showing you a couple of extremes in polished Pontils. So this is a Thomas Webb tumbler, and it does have a polished Pontil, but there's only like about ½ an inch of the natural glass left around the edge. The Pontil fills almost the whole of the bottom of the glass. Yeah, so it's, but that is a polished Pontil. Can you see where it, yeah, I think I'm catching the, yeah, you can see it now, can't you? Where it's catching the light. And then this one, actually, the whole base of the glass is the Pontil. And yeah, and you'll see a lot of these. I could probably date this from 1850 to 1950. Yeah, it's, you know, these were common tableware. But yeah, very good quality, nice solid base, massive polished bottom. So there you go. So I've got in front of me a couple of Victorian pub glasses for port or something. You can see it's a very common design, this, with the lots of people made them. And yeah, so these are interesting in that if I turn them over, yeah, it kind of shows that obviously there's a transition somehow, or different manufacturers, one making more effort, because this one has got a polished Pontil, yeah, and this one does not. And in fact, what you'll see is that if you just, let's see if I can get it to get into the light properly, you can see there's like a T mark on there, like in a thin line there and there. Yeah, you'll see that often with earlier gadgets, when they were, the gadget was like a pole that would come off like this with a disc on the end with a clip on it that would clip round. So they would actually bring this thing in and it would clip to the bottom of the glass while it was still hot, and then they could cut the top of the glass off from the bowl that they'd blown and finish the glass, instead of coming in with a rod of glass with a molten bit on it. Yeah, so that's how that one was done. This one was done with a clip that would grab the base, and in some cases, I don't think you can see it on this one. No, but sometimes you can see like a mark here and here on the top of the foot. And that's where the gadget grabs hold of the top of the thing. I think they got better at doing it, making gadgets that weren't making such obvious marks. But in the early ones, you can see there's like a double mark pressed into the top of the glass, where the glass was still a bit soft and they were trying to grip it. But you do often see this like crease or double crease, like a T or a Y in the base of the middle of the glass. I don't know why it did that, but it did. And that's caused by the gadget. And so if you see that, that means it's after 1800. It's kind of one of those things that you kind of go, yeah, it doesn't give you definite dating, but it kind of says it can't be any earlier than this date, because obviously they hadn't been made yet. I thought I'd show you this. It's a little Art Nouveau style. I think it's French claret jug. And what's different about this is that there's a number in the Pontil. The Pontil is not quite as polished. Yeah, some of the French stuff is never quite as finished, quite as good. And you've got this like rough base. It's got a 31 on it. Yeah, don't try to get a meaning out of that. What you need to do is look at the stopper, and can I get it into the right light so you can see? Yeah, you can just about make out there's a matching number there. So all that tells you is these two were made together. So there you go. So another little decorative feature you'll see on the bottom of glasses is star cut. This is late 19th century Richardson's decanter. Nice little matching stopper, but anyway, I'll turn it over. And effectively, the star cutting is there. It's decorative, yeah, it looks nice and everything. Also hides the broken Pontil mark, so rather than just leaving a polished little circle, you can do this nice cut feature like this. And yeah, it hides what was there.